56 Marietta Street. This building, this unassuming building on the corner of Forsyth and Marietta Streets holds a lot of historical significance to the state of Georgia and the country of the United States of America. See, because this building, this location was the first state capitol in the city of Atlanta for the state of Georgia, right? It was the capital for basically 1868 and 1869. Yeah, that's when the original 33 was denied the right to remain in office here on this location. Now, the building was torn down or razed at the turn of the century, the last century. But, you know, this is downtown Atlanta, man. You ain't gonna have no empty spaces. So another building was put up, and now it's the home of something called Digital Realty. I don't know what they do. I don't know who they are. This is not an endorsement of Digital Realty. I don't know anything about them, okay? But I do know this, that this location at one point was a law office, right? Had a lot of different lawyers in it. One of them was Hoke Smith, and I'm going to promise you this. You're gonna know who Hoke Smith is. I'm gonna make Hoke Smith famous again, and not in a good way. I promise you're gonna know who he is by the time I get through doing what I have to do with this series, okay? But we're not here to talk about Hoke Smith. We're not here to talk about the first state capital of Georgia in Atlanta, okay? We're here to talk about another person that held a law firm or a law office in this building. I'm talking about the former president of the United States of America. And his name was Woodrow Wilson, okay? Woodrow Wilson had a law firm in this location for 1 year. 1 year. The reason why his law practice only lasted a year here in Georgia was because he couldn't get any clients. He had one client, one paying client, his mama. His mama was the only one that entrusted this man with her legal responsibilities, okay? And I don't even know if he did a good job with her, okay? But eventually, this man ended up being the president of the United States of America. Even though he was a failed lawyer, he actually had gotten a PhD. Come to find out, his PhD was gotten under questionable circumstances. He taught college at what came to be Princeton University. I understand he wasn't all that great at that. He ended up being the president of Princeton, and people wonder how he got that job, but he did. Yeah, this dude was one of those guys one of those privileged people that always fell up. He failed, but every time he failed, he went up the ladder. And guess what? He eventually fell up to the position of the president of the United States of America, okay? And the reason that we are mentioning this man by the name of Woodrow Wilson, this is the building across the street. Woodrow Wilson was not because of Woodrow Wilson, but because, well, the reason why Woodrow Wilson is mentioned here today on Dirty South History is because of the things that Woodrow Wilson did, okay? Woodrow Wilson was responsible for resegregating the federal government of the United States of America after he won the presidency. Overnight, this man resegregated a country's government, right? He fired a lot of black people. Fired a lot of them The ones that did remain working for the government, yeah, they were in subservient positions. He set up like screens and separate bathrooms and anything he could do to keep the races separated. Mind you, for 50 years or so, the federal government had become integrated, had become basically closer to the American ideal, which we claim that we want, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? We strive to be an equal nation, right? Well, not under Woodrow Wilson's watch, all right? He also was the one that allegedly screened the movie Birth of a Nation, which glorified the Ku Klux Klan, okay? He said, allegedly, I don't know if this is true or not, but the rumors are there, that he said that movie looked like it was written with a lightning bolt, and it was all factual, right? And basically, that movie established the Klan as some heroes of America by subjugating black people. Okay, that was the premise of that movie, all right? But we're not here to talk about the most racist president of the 20th century. And notice I said the 20th century. We're in the 21st century now, so we've got room for somebody who wants to occupy that position. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time talking about this racist man who single-handedly resegregated America, okay? All right, or encouraged America to be resegregated or approved that kind of thing. No, I wouldn't waste your time with that. I want to talk about the man that stood up to Woodrow Wilson to his face. I want to talk about a civil rights activist that has been forgotten in this day and age, and that would be William Monroe Trotter. William Monroe Trotter. Remember that name, because William Monroe Trotter was a bad mofo, okay? William Monroe Trotter, if this was a Marvel movie, William Monroe Trotter would be Wolverine, because William Monroe Trotter was fearless, okay? And him and other civil rights leaders had a meeting with Woodrow Wilson and in the White House, and William Monroe Trotter was so hardcore that Wilson stopped the meeting and kicked William Monroe Trotter out of the White House. He basically said, "Sir, I don't like your tone." And he was like, "If you guys want to have another meeting with me, you're gonna have to find another spokesperson, because this black man is talking to me too tough, talking too hard to me," right? And all he was saying was, "Hey, you're wrong for trying to resegregate federal government. You know, we've been operating under an integrated policy for years, and we've had no issues. We are a very integrated area here in DC." But he did not want to hear it. He wanted these civil rights leaders to go along with his foolishness, okay? And William Monroe Trotter basically told them, "We're not having it." Unfortunately, through the years, a guy like William Monroe Trotter, yeah, he's forgotten. But I'm hoping that you remember that name, and I hope you do your research on him. All right. And by the way, this area right here, for whatever reason, it seems to be central to a lot of history, and not always in a good way, that involves the city of Atlanta and the South in general, because 56 Marietta Street is right across the street from the statue of Henry W. Grady. And if you watch my videos, you know that Henry W. Grady was the man who coined the term the New South, but he wanted a New South for white men, and he wanted to maintain the status quo of white supremacy in that New South, okay? So that's what he proposed. This is the monument that they built for him. And during the 1906 Atlanta Race Massacre, yeah, we knew who he was, and they did too, because this was the location where they stacked the bodies of the African Americans who were killed in that race massacre right there. Okay? It's funny about history. All right.